Justin Gaethje was kind of sitting around on the sideline saying he wants a title fight or that's it. Paddy Pimblett called him a bit of a little bitch for having that stance. Said, listen, I like Justin, but he's a bit of a bitch for talking like that.
You know, I don't ever want to say a bad word about Justin Gaethje, because he's a legend, but he's doing interviews lately being a proper you know what I mean? Saying like the UFC owe him and he deserves it and all that. No one's owed nothing. You know what I mean? You fight for it.
Well, now they get to settle it in the octagon. I did think that Paddy was kind of the front runner. Certainly after he stepped into the octagon when Ilia Topuria knocked out Charles Oliveira, they had that back and forth. Ilia had the belts on, both belts on, pushes Paddy. It was a bit of an awkward moment. That fight looked destined to happen. And of course, for years now, Paddy Pimblett's been giving him shit, calling him the hand sanitizer boy and all that type of stuff, right?
I don't understand you or anything. Back in the flouty, mouthy, clouty, like what?
Hand sanitizer boy!
I hope they fight down the line because there's certainly a storyline built in. But this is a very, very tough competitive matchup.
Arman. Like put a lot of clone the things and like everybody knows that's a bullshit and the next champion is here. Yeah. And thank you everybody for support. I really appreciate it.
One way or another, even if Gaethje doesn't take your offer and you're not cornering Gaethje, will you be at the fight? I imagine you'll go to January 24th. Yeah, you think you'll be there?
I don't want to be there because I'm gonna fight with somebody there. Because if I see Paddy, I would like to slap him. Not slap like slapping Ilia, but real Armenian slap. Not like maybe this is Spanish slap, like when they put on the neck. That's the slap. I'll show him like a real slap.
It's all going to be worth it when I lift that real title above my head and Paddy the Baddy is a world champion and 2026 is going to be the biggest year.
Wait, man.
Yeah, I'm at the minute. Good.
Good, always. You're getting too old, dog. I never wrestle in a fight, but wrestle
Gotta be ready for it, dog.
Yeah. I didn't even go with 55 dude, but I don't know if you counted one.
He was laughing at me saying, how the fuck do you make 55? You might be anywhere near me weight when I fight, but at the minute it was nice getting around him with him, lad, you know what I mean? Fucking, as much as people say as well, he goes mad, he doesn't. He was nice and chilled with me there, didn't try and take me head off at all.
Oh, bro, he's dope, good guy. Oh, he's a big man, bro. He's a big motherfucker, tough guy.
The moment the UFC announced Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje for the interim strap, the whole MMA scene split right down the middle. Some fans think it's a wild mismatch, others swear it's exactly what the division needed, and through all that noise, Paddy's already grinding for the biggest test of his career. Analysts aren't holding back either, firing off early takes as the matchup turns into one of the most hot-button announcements of the year.
He's moving, Justin Gaethje's moving better, but when he wants to really sit down and be violent, he can. And I think that's going to present problems for Paddy. It's going to force Paddy to make some mistakes, and I'm not sure he's going to be able to take the amount of punishment that Justin Gaethje's able to dish out.
Sitting in his gym post-workout, Paddy Pimblett is already mapping out a wild 2026, and he's talking like a man who expects to run the whole division. He says the interim belt is just the starting point, with plans to snatch the undisputed crown by taking out Ilia Topuria next. And after that, he's aiming straight at Arman Tsarukyan, tossing shots about Arman's time off and promising to crack him too. In Paddy's mind, next year isn't just big, it's the year he takes over.
First ever time when we fought in January, the earliest I've ever fought. It's going to ruin my Christmas dinner and my birthday because I'm 31 like 3 weeks before it. But it's all going to be worth it when I lift that real title above my head and Paddy the Baddy is a world champion and 2026 is going to be the biggest year of my life. I am coming for that interim title, then I'll be making it the undisputed title when I come and beat Ilia Topuria up and take the undisputed title. And then little posh boy, if he manages to fight in that time, because he likes sitting out and saying he's got a sore back. If little posh boy fights in that time and keeps his ranking, I'll punch his head in as well.
And now Dana White has cranked the stakes even higher. He's confirmed that whoever walks out of Gaethje versus Paddy with the interim belt doesn't get to sit back. They're heading straight into an undisputed clash with Ilia Topuria. So while Paddy's mapping out his dream year and firing shots at everyone in sight, the path is officially set. Survive Gaethje, face Topuria, and the entire division shifts around whoever comes out on top.
Obviously, you just saw Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett for the interim title. Earlier Topuria posted, I'm dealing with some personal problems, so I'm not gonna fight the first quarter. So the winner of Gaethje versus Paddy will be the interim title, and then they will face Topuria.
Whereas Arman Tsarukyan isn't buying the Paddy Pimblett storyline for a second. He's calling it what he sees it as, a promotional boost, and insisting he's the one who actually clawed his way into title shot territory. In Arman's eyes, the skill gap and the resume aren't even close, and if anyone in this mix deserves the real shot at gold, it's him.
You were the #1 contender back in January. So why did you take this fight?
I just prove it again. I just prove it again.
I know.
Wanted me to prove. I just prove it again, and I showed again everybody like I'm a real deal. It's not just I'm ranked #1. Just I'm not fake like Paddy Pimblett making rank by themselves and UFC tell her bring him up because we want to give him title fight, or I don't know what they want to do with him. I was beating everybody, and I was deserved every spot. You know, I was top 15, top 12, top 10, top 9, top 5, top 3, top 1, and now I'm top 1, and I beat it again and prove it again. I'm #1 contender, and now they have no choice not to give me title fight.
And while Arman's calling out the UFC's matchmaking, Michael Bisping highlighted how the tension between Gaethje and Paddy even got here. Gaethje had been parked on the sidelines, insisting it was a title shot or nothing, and Paddy didn't hesitate to blast him for it, saying he respects Justin but thought the stance was weak. Now all that back and forth moves out of interviews and into the cage, where they finally get to settle it for real.
A great card, okay? So let's talk about this. Justin Gaethje was kind of sitting around on the sidelines saying he wants a title fight, or that's it. Paddy Pimblett called him a bit of a little bitch for having that stance. Said, listen, I like Justin, but he's a bit of a bitch for talking like that.
You know, don't ever want to say a bad word about Justin Gaethje, because he's a legend, but he's doing interviews lately being a proper you know what I mean? Saying like the UFC owe him and he deserves it and all that. No one's owed nothing. You know what I mean? You fight for it.
Well, now they get to say.
Bisping doubled down on how razor sharp this matchup really is, reminding everyone that even at 36, Gaethje is still a wrecking machine. One bad night against Holloway doesn't erase the leg kicks, the power, or the chaos that made him the human highlight. But he also made it clear Paddy's no soft touch either. The way he tore through Chandler and showed up in Qatar looking shredded and dialed in proved he's leveling up fast. In Bisping's eyes, both guys are coming in dangerous, and that's exactly why this fight feels like it could explode at any second.
Built in, but this is a very, very tough competitive matchup. Now, Justin Gaethje is no spring chicken. I think he's 36 years old. But you know what you're going to get with Justin Gaethje. Yes, of course, against Max Holloway at UFC 300, he got knocked out. He got embarrassed. He got face planted. I tell you what, it was a shocking scene, okay? But that's not normally what happens with Justin Gaethje. He is one of the most exciting fighters. They do call him the human highlight reel for a reason. He's got great wrestling, but the boxing, the striking, the leg kick, the punch power that he has. I'm telling you, this man is no joke. And neither is Paddy Pimblett, right? We saw last time against Michael Chandler, he is the real deal. He absolutely smoked him. He's undefeated in the UFC. He put a beating on Michael Chandler. And let's remember, Chandler went toe-to-toe with Gaethje, gave Dustin Poirier a good run, knocked out Dan Hooker. So it's not like he's a bum. Yes, he hasn't been winning fights. We all know that. But Paddy made it look different. He beat the living hell out of him. Simple as that. And I knew he had something coming up because last week when I saw him in Qatar, the man was playing paddle, right? Like a paddle bro. He had his shirt off in the sun. He was glistening. He had the six-pack. He looked great. We all call him Paddy the fatty, right? Well, he isn't fat right now. The man looked to be in the best shape.
And while most debate the legitimacy of the fight, Din Thomas makes his pick clear. He's leaning heavily toward Gaethje. While Paddy's crafty and tough, able to hang with skilled opponents, Thomas warns that Justin's relentless downhill pressure is a whole different challenge. You can try to outsmart him, but eventually he forces the fight, and Thomas isn't convinced Paddy has the tools to weather that storm, especially with takedowns unlikely to be part of his game plan. For him, Gaethje's power and pace make him the favorite in a matchup that's anything but easy.
Who are you leaning towards in Gaethje versus Paddy?
I'm leaning towards Gaethje for sure.
Yeah?
I think absolutely. I mean, just you know, Gaethje he's still a banger, man. And it's some like Paddy's crafty. Paddy's really crafty. And he's shown that he can withstand certain things and he can hang around with certain guys. But I just think, you know, when Justin Gaethje gets rolling downhill and the amount of violence and he's able to catch up to people, like you can try to be crafty as you possibly can with Justin Gaethje, but eventually he's going to catch up to you and you got to stand up and fight him. Max Holloway was able to do that. Like Max Holloway he was obviously doing very well, but then when he sat down on his punches, I mean, we saw what happened. So I'm not sure that Paddy Pimblett has the ability to do that, and I'm pretty sure Paddy Pimblett can't take Gaethje down. So I'm leaning towards Gaethje. In fact,
On the other hand, MMA Guru couldn't help laughing at the mess of it all. Gaethje versus Paddy headlining UFC 324 for the interim lightweight crown, while Arman Tsarukyan, in his words, is probably somewhere collapsing in disbelief. He called it wild matchmaking, confusing for Arman but electric for fans, especially with Ilia Topuria stepping away for a bit, and with the winner guaranteed a shot at Ilia next. Guru said this whole setup is outrageous in the best way, and he's even leaning toward Paddy pulling it off.
It's Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett for the interim lightweight world championship as the main event of UFC 324. Yes, that's right. You heard that correct. Arman Tsarukyan is crying in a hotel room as we speak. I just saw Arman Tsarukyan sink to his knees in a Target somewhere. This is really, really bad news for him, but really great news for fight fans. But really confusing news because Arman Tsarukyan should be involved, but they're going with Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett as the main event of the first card back. Ilia Topuria needs to take some time off because of some situation that he's going through that maybe I'll get to when I return to this fight and give more of a detailed breakdown. But this is an amazing fight. The winner is going to fight Ilia Topuria, no doubt at the White House. And this is absolutely insane matchmaking. I reckon Pimblett...
Building on that, MMA Guru doubles down on Paddy's chances. He sees Pimblett using a mix of striking and grappling, staying smart at range rather than trading blows like Chandler or Fiziev, giving him the edge over Gaethje, who's nearing the tail end of his career. It's tough luck for Arman Tsarukyan, who was hoping to be on the card, but that only adds to the madness. And with Paddy somehow leaping to number 5 in the rankings Scouse Magic, Guru jokes he's now officially in an interim title showdown. The fight is as unpredictable as it is thrilling, and the hype surrounding it couldn't be bigger.
Beating him. Mixing up the grappling and the striking, staying at range, not being in the pocket with him like a Chandler would be, like a Fiziev would be. I reckon Pimblett's going to beat him. Gaethje coming towards the tail end of his career. I just want to mention now, Arman Tsarukyan is... this is tough for Arman. Okay, he's probably going to have to fight someone else. He said he would be on this card. I don't know if they then called him and he said, no, I can't be on that card, and that's why they've done this. If that's what comes out from this, I guess it could be a bit more understandable because otherwise it would have been Nunes Harrison to main event, and we just can't have that. We just can't have that. But this is insane. Gaethje versus Pimblett is an absolutely insane fight. I'm looking forward to it. This is a massive, massive matchup. Ton of hype on the line. But I do want to mention, Pimblett has floated up to number 5 in the rankings. Magically. Scouse magic, dude. Scouse magic. Don't ask for that on a street corner in Liverpool, by the way. But this is some Scouse magic. Okay? He just levitated his way into an interim title shot, which is insane, but fair enough. As an Englishman, I'm all on board with this. But, you know, it is what it is. I think you'll...
Adding to the hype, Max Holloway weighs in with his take. It's all about Justin or Paddy now, and Paddy has a serious challenge ahead. Gaethje isn't just any opponent, and Holloway notes that too many people are underestimating how tough this fight will be. Before Paddy can even dream of a title shot or a clash with Ilia, he has to prove he can navigate a battle with one of the most relentless fighters in the division.
Ilia or Paddy? I mean, the fight not happening. It's Justin or Paddy now. Paddy got to get past Justin. Justin's a tough fight, bro. I don't know. A lot of people sleeping on Justin. on the Paddy fight, which just makes me ridiculous.
Building on that, Luke Thomas dives into the bigger picture chaos. He gets why the UFC is hyping Paddy against an aging but dangerous Gaethje, and why an interim title makes sense for pay-per-view leverage when Ilya finally returns. But at the same time, Thomas can't ignore the real issue. Arman Tsarukyan is the fighter who should be in this spot, ready and deserving, yet he's left waiting while the division gets shuffled. With Ilya sidelined for months, the whole setup feels messy, unfair, and a bit of a headache for anyone trying to make sense of it. However, Ariel Helwani cuts straight to the controversy. This interim title fight is a makeshift affair, skipping over the actual #1 contender, Arman Tsarukyan, and even leaving the reigning champion out of the picture. To Helwani, it feels about as prestigious as a BMF belt, fun for fans, but messy in terms of legitimacy. He points out that while Paddy versus Gaethje is entertaining on paper and could serve as a stepping stone toward Ilya or Arman, the fight isn't strictly necessary, and the way it's headlining over a clash, like Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes, just adds to the baffling nature of the matchmaking. Sharing Helwani's sentiments, Wade Plemons also slammed the interim title setup as pure nonsense. Sure, Paddy versus Gaethje comes with a built-in shot at Ilya, but that only makes it one of the most absurd lightweight interim fights imaginable because the real #1 contender, Arman Tsarukyan, is nowhere in sight. To Wade, it's another example of the UFC moving away from merit and towards spectacle, where promoters pick their superstars regardless of resumes, opponents, or actual achievements. In his eyes, the fight isn't about sport, it's about hype. Following that, Bedtime MMA weighs in with his own conspiracy on the shuffle at the top of the card. Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje wasn't originally meant to be an interim title fight, and questions about Arman Tsarukyan's absence are loud and clear. The plan likely leaned toward Ilya versus Arman or a co-main with Nunes versus Harrison, but with Ilya stepping away, Paddy versus Gaethje got bumped to the main event. Even if neither fighter truly deserves a title shot yet, it's still a high-stakes, exciting matchup, the kind fans want to see eventually for the belt, even if the timing is messy. Now it's your turn to give us your take. Do you think this fight is exactly what's needed, or do you think Arman Tsarukyan deserves more of a shot at the title? Leave us your thoughts in the comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe for more MMA World updates.